I'm going to show you how to fry rabbit or chicken from scratch. Today I am using chicken, but you can swap it out for mountain grouse, rabbit, turkey, or pheasant without making any other alterations. This really is my go-to recipe for fried everything. I'm putting all of this chicken into a bowl of pickle juice plus 1 or 2 eggs. My family can go through a gallon of pickles once a month, so I also save the juice for brines like this. I promise you this does not make the meat taste like pickles. This is the secret to having chicken that is crispy on the outside, but juicy and full of flavor on the inside. This is a secret that many restaurants use. Now it's a matter of waiting. For young chicken, rabbit, or grouse, I let it sit for about 4 hours in the fridge. That's important. This brine needs to rest in the fridge and not on your counter. For older animals that may be tougher, or animals that have a gamier flavor that you don't like, let it sit in the fridge in the brine for 24 to 48 hours. I will have this recipe linked in the description, that way you can print it, save it to your Pinterest board, or email it to a friend. Right now I am using about 3 cups of flour, some garlic powder, paprika, onion powder, and a dash of chili powder, plus some salt and pepper. In the background I have 3 to 4 inches of oil in a pan on high heat. I prefer peanut oil for this, but vegetable oil or avocado oil are perfectly fine substitutes. In a separate smaller bowl I whisk up 4 eggs, mixing the yolk and the egg white well. I think I ended up adding more eggs later on, but I prefer to start with a few and then add more as needed so that way I'm not wasting a bunch of eggs. These eggs are a binder to make the flour and the spices stick to the chicken without it sliding off. I am not wearing gloves. I know that some people may not like that, but I wash my hands well, and this chicken is going into hot oil, so it will be very safe after frying. You can wear gloves or use a fork to batter the chicken, but I found that almost doubles the time it takes me to bread and batter. If you're only doing a few pieces of chicken, that extra time may not matter to you, but I like to do 5 pounds at a time, so that can get tedious. Oh, and the secret here is to triple coat the chicken. It's 1 layer of egg on both sides, followed by flour on both sides, egg again, flour again, egg again, and then flour again. It rests on a separate plate until I'm ready to add it to the cast iron. I usually add about 5 pieces at a time. I have seen people put their chicken and flour into a bag and shake that up. That is much faster, but their breading usually slides off once the chicken starts to cool off on the plate. It also usually leads to the chicken having some random bald spots all over. Hand battering the chicken is the difference between most homemade chicken and the super crunchy stuff that is a treat from restaurants. When I talk about trying to recreate restaurant-style food, it's not about attempting to be commercial, it's about making a food that looks and tastes professional and is more appealing to most people. I have noticed that a lot of new or aspiring homesteaders are in a relationship and their other half is not so convinced by the lifestyle. I think one of the best things we can do to lure them over is to introduce delicious foods that are familiar and greatly satisfying. Not just in flavor, but seeing the process of it going from your field or your forest and onto your plate. For some reason, some people are just uneasy about seeing animals that they raised become food. I understand the hurdles of overcoming the emotional side of it, but to not want to eat something because you knew it and because you see it as dirty, that one is a little bit harder for me to wrap my head around. Anyway, the goal here is to make the chicken or the rabbit perfectly appetizing so that they can see that this is just like, or even better than, the restaurant and grocery store meats that they were totally disconnected and uninvolved with. And if you're the one who is uncertain about it all, home-raised foods tend to taste like what you get from the grocery store, but better. It has a stronger flavor, but in a luxurious way, not at all in a gamey style. The only exception to this, for me anyway, has been bacon. I've had homegrown pork taken into the lockers, and the bacon is just not as good as the grocery store. I don't know, it lacks the flavor. I don't know what my butcher did, but I didn't care for it. When we get pigs again this time, we will do the dispatching and processing ourselves. So if you have any advice for making that bacon taste more flavorful and less like boiled bacon, then I would be so grateful to hear from you in the comments. I am completely blown away, not just by the sheer number of you, but also by how educated and experienced so many of you are. You are literally a treasure trove of amazing information, and I feel super privileged to have you near me. So you'll notice that I have a dry cast iron skillet that I'm dropping this finished chicken into. Usually I take this cast iron and I put it in the oven on low heat, about 170 degrees Fahrenheit or 76 degrees Celsius. Today I'm using my oven for a side, so I'm going to wait a bit before adding the chicken to the oven so that way it doesn't burn. This step is unnecessary if you're eating as you fry, but if you want a meal with your family, keep it in the oven until you're ready to eat. This keeps the chicken nice and warm without losing any of that crunchy goodness. You'll know when your chicken is done when it floats to the top of your oil. It really is that simple. So tonight for sides, we are having green beans and my weird or lazy take on potato skins. These are medium to large potatoes, sliced lengthwise into 4 pieces. I then added a bit of butter, garlic, and some cheese, and if I had it on hand, some chives.
I love lemon.
Love you, buddy.
Mom, those are beans.
They are, yes.
Yeah.
And you can't have fried chicken without some homemade black sweet tea, so of course we had to have that too. Oh, how I wish I could share a piece of chicken through the screen, but this will have to do for now until you can try this one out for yourself. Now after dinner, I'm going to bag this up and freeze it for later. This gives me homemade fried chicken that can be reheated in the oven or microwaved very conveniently. I swear this is my secret weapon for working from home on a homestead with little kids and no outside childcare. Hi, I am filming this super late at night, as you can tell. So a couple housekeeping things before I go. Number 1 is you can find this recipe at thehomesteaderschronicle.com. I think I'm going to have a link in the description for you. This is where you can go to pin, print, share, email, pin this to your Pinterest board so that way it's easy for you to reference. Okay, my friend Kayla and I have been slowly adding our family's recipes to the website. This is really special to us. We are so fed up with the AI crap that is not a real recipe and it just wastes your ingredients. So that is a safe place you can go to get recipes that other people have actually tried more than once, and we all love it and we feed it to our families. It's great. So yeah, there's that. Number 2, how to feed your goat without the feed store article. That is coming really soon. It's just taking me forever. I did the numbers on the last one. I think it took me like 32 hours to research and make the chicken video, and then like another 20 to do the rabbit video. It had some of the research already done for me, so it didn't take quite as long, but that was still a long time. Number 3, I know that I mentioned books a lot, so at your request, I have added some of my favorite books through Amazon. It's storefront, whatever. If you order through there directly, it does help my channel out. With that said, thriftbooks.com exists. I love that place. They have been so incredibly helpful to me. Usually for the price that you would get for 1 book at Amazon, you can get 2 or 3 through Thrift Books. So if you are running this on a budget, I would much rather you go through there so you can get way more for your money. Yeah, I just highly recommend that. And honestly, I'm just so grateful that you have listened this far. I appreciate you so much. And I hope your family likes this recipe as much as mine has. Thank you so much.